Okay, so let us start with the machine learning in today's section, right? So machine learning, a lot of people must be interested in it. Okay, and we can see that huge amount of people are trying to learn about, understand what is machine learning, right? So today we are going to explore that. So let us try to understand what is machine learning. Okay, so machine learning actually divided into three different parts, as you can see. So first part is supervised learning. We'll focus on that, right? So first part is supervised learning, then second part is unsupervised, then we also have reinforcement learning. Now let us try to understand each thing in detail. So let us first talk about the supervised learning. What is supervised learning? So supervised learning means, uh, let's take an example. There is a kid, right? And now you wanted to teach ABCD to the kid, right? So what you will do? You will draw A on the board, and you will tell him that this is A. You have to understand it as an A only, right? So same way supervised learning. So what we do is we provided data to the model. So that is a machine learning model to which we provided data, and the data is labeled data. And the supervised learning will see what is the label attached to it, and it will try to learn from it. Okay. So this is what comes with the supervised learning. Now again, supervised learning is divided into two different parts. First thing is classification. Second thing is regression. So let us talk about classification now. So classification is again divided into two different parts. That is binary classification we can call, wherein there will be two classes, and there will be multi-class classification. So let us talk about the binary classification first. Let's say you wanted to predict that tomorrow it will rain or it will not rain. So this is nothing but a problem of binary classification, wherein you have to predict between two classes. Okay, so you will have a data which is a labeled data, wherein some of the rows will be there which will say that it will not rain and on which day, what was the condition, what was the temperature. Okay, so you will get the data, and whether on that day it has rained or not. So we'll have such kind of a data, and we will build a model on top of it, right? So there's nothing but a classification. In multi-class classification, you have multiple classes. For example, if a if someone comes to buy a car, so we'll check a different parameters. What is his salary? Okay, what is does he works as a employee, or he has his own business, right? So based on that, we'll predict which kind of car he will buy. So there will be different cars, right? So this is a problem of multi-class classification. Then we have a regression. So regression means predicting something which is kind of a numerical data. For example, what is the stock price for Google tomorrow? Okay, so this is nothing but a problem where you have to deal with the numbers. Okay, so let's move towards unsupervised learning. Let's try to understand what is unsupervised learning. So just like in supervised learning, we have the data with labels. In unsupervised learning, we will have data without labels. Now, when the data is there without labels, you have to um, yourself understand and try to generate some patterns out of it so that you could categorize the data. Okay, so let's say if we have a data uh, wherein wherein we wanted to predict whether certain people have disease or not, right? So based on certain parameters, we will try to categorize the data. We will divide into two different groups. So there will be groups of data, right? So there will be no labels attached to it, since we will just have the data about the groups only. So once we have a group, you can assign a label to that group. Okay. So this is nothing but comes in a clustering point. So you will have data based on certain parameters. You will have certain groups created out of it. So this is used when you wanted to do some target marketing also. So in case of target marketing, just take an example of uh, this. We can say idea of Vodafone, right? Let's talk about them. So they wanted to target a particular group of a customer, wherein the group of customers are trying to divert from Vodafone to, let's say, Jio. Okay, so the Vodafone will have different clusters, right? Different clusters created out of the data that they're having, and they will see which kind of a customers are trying to divert from their company to some other company, and they will give huge discounts to them, right? So in this case we can use the clustering. So we can generate a patterns, we can generate a group of data wherein there is no labels attached to it. And we also have something called as demonstrated reduction. So demonstrated reduction is nothing but whenever we want to increase the accuracy of our models, we will reduce the data which is not important for your model. Okay, so this is what is unsupervised learning. So we'll just understand that unsupervised learning is learning with the data which is unlabeled. Supervised learning is learning wherein your data is labeled data, and reinforcement learning is something which is practiced in the robotics fields. So how does it works? So let's say you have a robot, right, and you ask the robot to just move one step forward. So if the robot moves one step forward, so we will appreciate him, or um, will give him plus 10 points, kind of. Just take an example, right? So we'll give rewards to him in some sense. And whenever if I just ask a robot to move one step forward, but he moves one step backwards or left or right, so this is not actual movement which I wanted. So at that time I'll apply penalty to him. Okay, so the machine learning model will get trained, like what are the steps through which he can earn maximum rewards, and this is how reinforcement learning works. So it works on a theme called as penalty and rewards. Okay, so we'll understand that in later videos, but for now you just try to understand that this is mainly used wherein we have to build some robotics or self-driving cars, we can say, even in the game AIs. So this is used in many different places. Okay, so yeah, this was all about introduction to machine learning. In next session we'll start about the understanding of it. uh, we have data, right? So what kind of a columns we have, what are the machine learning terms that we can use. So we'll see them in the next session. Okay, thank you, that's all for this session.